Hello again. Welcome back to the video lessons of the IMPACT IELTS. This is my video number 10th on IELTS General Reading. In this particular video, I am going to take a question from the longer passage, and the three question types that we are taking in this passage is matching headings with the paragraph, and this is a very popular question type in IELTS, multiple choice, and summary completion. So I will deal with the first question type in this video, and another two will be dealt with in next videos 11th and 12th. So at first let me show you the passage. Now this is the question of list of headings. This is the only question type that comes before the passage, and after that you will see the entire passage, longer passage, so it can take 2 to 3 pages. And then you have another question which is multiple choice questions. You must have seen these questions many times in your study or career. And then we have another type of question which is known as summary completion. You have already done this type of question, so I might not going to touch it, and in the end you will find the answer of the question. So let's start with the first question type, which is list of headings. Now your question looks like this. You have to find out the headings of each paragraphs. So for example, the paragraph A, the heading suits is historical overview, so you will write here. Once you complete an answer, for example this is number 3, what you will do, you will give some hint on 3. That means now you don't have to go through this one again. Okay, let's start. Remind you the strategy. The first thing, we have to go through the passage in about 20 seconds to understand what is it about. So you will understand that it is about marine ecosystem and many development project and research which have been carried out in the past related to this. The second thing, as I have already discussed in the earlier longer passages, the strategy is to underline the one keyword of each type of questions in case they might appear first. So for example, what will I do? Boris Worms is my keyword, so I'll underline it in the beginning. Perhaps this is a name, so better I'll keep in mind. John Shafford, there are not many questions, so I can keep these two in mind. Right. What does it mean that whenever I get this word, the answer of this question type will appear? Then this is the Wadden Sea is already the title, so perhaps that can be the keyword. The Wadden Sea was created when the sea rose as a consequence of, so perhaps it is the creation of Wadden Sea that we have to find out. Right, so now we know that we have to find out something like creation of Wadden Sea. We have to find out two names, Boris Worms and John Shafford, while we are doing the question type 1. And you know, in this question type, this is the only question type that allow you to go through the entire passage. So you cannot go through the entire passage again for another question type. So this strategy is highly effective. Now come back to this question type, that how will we begin, what will we start with. The first thing you will do, that you have already done, reading the passage, underlining the keywords of the two other question types. In this particular question types, you have to read through them seriously, and if possible you can underline some words. So he's saying plans for marine protected area, so you have to find a plan for marine. So I mean the entire part is the keyword. There's nothing that we can exclude. Historical overview, so perhaps whenever you see any historical overview, you can come back to check. Why more has not been done to save marine creatures? Oh, it's entirely is a keyword. I'll not underline it. Why more has not been done to save marine creatures? What the press has missed. Small, but perhaps press has missed something. So I have to find that out, what the press has missed. where biodiversity has been shown to help. So perhaps biodiversity, and you must know the meaning as well. The meaning of biodiversity is different type of species who is currently being blamed. Again, the entire part is the key, but who is currently being blamed? A reason for some optimism. So perhaps you can underline the word optimism here. Various factors other than fishing. Various factors other than fishing. I mean, I cannot underline anything. Right. Once you have done this, now you have to come back to the passes. Although I would like to caution you that if you are getting any key words, for example, marine protected areas, if you get it somewhere, it doesn't mean that that is the answer. What exactly you have to find out, this is not like matching the information in your paragraph. This is like you will have to match a title of that particular paragraph. So you have to see, are they talking about the plans for this or not? Right. So let's move forward and let's check with the first paragraph. So this is my first paragraph. I know for sure that I'll get one answer in that. Now I'd like to discuss some clues here or tips. 50 to 70% of the answers can be found in first one or two sentences, many times in the first and last sentences. So perhaps a good idea to read the first sentence and try to match, if anything matches with it, perhaps that can be the answer. Although you need to want to write further to see, are they talking about the same thing or they are saying something differently. Tips number 2 is, if you don't get any clue, then read the entire passage and find the answer. And there are some precautions as well that you have to take. Number 1, if you read the entire paragraph and you're not able to matching it with any of the titles, leave it then and there and don't waste your time, because you have the limited time to go through the questions. Just put a question mark here and move ahead. In the end, when you are left off with, for example, 1 or 2 options and 1 or 2 passes, it is easier to find the matching. And number 2, if you feel sometimes that the same passage seems to have more than one answer, nothing can be done about this. Just write both these options here and continue reading. You might later find that any of this one matches with any particular paragraph, and then you will move that particular options from here there, and that this is what can be done. So let's start with my strategy. First strategy is that I have to read the first line and I have to try to see if I can find any. So for some time now, the world's ocean and the people who fish them have been a constant source of bad environmental news. Sometime now, people are responsible. Okay, let me go back and check if there is anything. Yes, we got to see who is currently being blamed. Currently means for some time now. Who? People who fish them. So you're exactly getting the answer of this. So answer of number A is, that you will write here, is 6. And at the same time you have to highlight it or bold it or whatever way you will follow to show that you have already done, you have finished this task. I'm not able to highlight it, so what can be done? Perhaps what you can do, you can make a circle here. That can be a good idea. So for example, I'm drawing a circle here, and I will keep it here to prove that this particular task is done right. Let me move it a bit left. So now this circle proves that you don't have to read this with pen and paper test. You can do better, like you can circle it or something. So we got the first answer. We need to move to the second answer. And sometimes you need to underline even. You can underline for some time now means currently, isn't it? Yes. And people who fish them, they are the constant source. So who is responsible? People who fish them in the current time. You might like to read it further to see are they saying something different, and endangered species and saying the same thing. What is more dash dash dash? Okay, fine. Let's move to section 2 and apply the same formula by reading the first sentence. However, the scientist who led the study has said that the main conclusion of his research has been buried beneath the headlines. Are you getting something? Buried beneath the headlines. Doesn't it match with the press word? There they were saying what press has missed. So can you find it what press has missed? Scientists who led the study has said that the main conclusion of his research has been buried. Okay, so what they have missed is main conclusion of this research. That means I'm getting the full answer here. And are they talking about the same thing? While the danger of seafood supply is real enough, say Boris Worms. Boris Worms. Boris Worms. Can you remind it? Boris Worms. It does remind you of it reminds you of the underline keyword in next question type. So you can just drop a hint here. I would like to draw a circle here. Perhaps that could be the better option. Yes, so there is a circle. That means when I finish this particular question type, I will directly start from here because this keyword here. So I'm going to get this answer here. Fine, that's cool. Now come back to the next question. So we have got the answer of this. So I will write down this answer here. What was the answer of this? Is what's the press estimate? So it is 4 that I have to write here. Fine. And now we want to have this mark here as well, so that now we know that I don't have to read this option again. That's a good idea that you can mark something like this. Oh, this come here. I don't know the technical part of this, but this would be here. Anyway. So now 2 of them you have already got. Now come to the next one. Now he's saying around 7,005 years ago, shrinking glaciers and the resulting high water level led to the development of what's called the Wadden Sea. So talking about time and talking about a place, let me see if anything I can match with this. Yes, historical review. So he's talking about the time. One specific area is Wadden Sea. But is it a historical overview? We have to check that. Means are they talking about more in terms of past and present? 7,500 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 500 years ago. So there is no doubt that this is about historical review. So answer is now number 2. So that's the next answer. Fine, and again this you need this circle to be here in number 2. So here I have copied it, and here, sorry, where is it? Okay, it is here. I don't know, again this one, so I have to move it here. So that means I have got the 3 answers. I don't have to read those options, but like now I read some options like plans for more marine protected areas. More has not been done. Why? Biodiversity has been shown to help. Who is currently being blamed? Reason for some optimism. Apparently, it is done. Some optimism and various factors of fishing. It is better as well here. Yes. Right. So I will move to my next paragraph now, and my next paragraph will be D. What is interesting is that overfishing is not the main agent of the decline, as we might assume. It's due to an ongoing combination of exploitation, habitat destructions, and pollution. Okay, So overfishing is not the main agent, means there are various other factors he's saying, and the example of various other factors have been given. I got one answer, I think, where some headings were saying that overfishing, something I know, I cannot recall, I have to go back and see what. Various factors other than fishing. They're talking about various factors other than fishing. So the answer is 8 here. 8, and again you need to have this lovely circle here, right? Put it here, put it here. I know it will go somewhere else and then I have to drag it, so that is technical part of this. Okay, fine. So now I've got those many answers. Now come to paragraph E. Paragraph E is saying what the science paper has demonstrated, however, is that the decline in the health of ecosystem is greater where the number of different species is low. Decline is greater where number of different species. So actually one thing we definitely get, that is biodiversity, because in the beginning I told you biodiversity means. So let me see, what about biodiversity we are searching. Can we get this answer here? Where the biodiversity has been shown to help. Okay, so we have to find out the name of a place where biodiversity has been shown to help. Okay, so I will continue reading. The population of marbled rock caught around the South Atlantic island. So there is a place of South Georgia, for example, still has not recovered after the fishing industry caused it collapse during the 70s. Okay, so they're talking about the opposite one. It doesn't help, actually. Then they say, by contrast, North Sea, again another name, has withstood very heavy fishing. Okay, so this one is positive perhaps. So North Sea can be the place, but I have to say how biodiversity help it. So continue reading. Coal has withstood very heavy fishing for hundreds of years, says Worm, and although it has declined substantially, it hasn't yet collapsed. Worm believes that to have a greater number of species, again biodiversity, see, greater number of species, again he's talking about biodiversity, makes a system more robust. Okay, that means it makes the system strong. And where it did it? In North Sea. So I got the answer now. Biodiversity helped a place known as North Cod. So we got the answer now. So I need to again circle this one. Again the technical glitch. So I have to bring it back to here. Right. Now we have only three options left. Plans, why more has not been done, reason for some optimism. Okay, move to the next passage, F. And some positive news came from the study. Positive news, let's say positive news came from a study means optimism. Some positive news, when they're saying, it means they're talking about some optimism came from Swam, and his colleagues were able to show that. So he's explaining it. So perhaps there is some optimism, and this one is number F. F is saying some optimism. So 7 is the answer of F. Oh, what about E? 7 is the answer of F, and E, what answer is short? Biodiversity 5. So I forgot to write the answer. So write the answer here, 5. Okay, so I need to circle now 7 as well. So this is 7. Now we are left with only 2 options. Plans for more marine protected areas, or why more has not been done to save marine creatures. And we have only one option left. So let's go down to G. This longer question, that's why video is a bit longer. But then there is no way. You have to understand like this. Only then you will be able to be successful. in the exam. So let's see last passage. Yes. However, there are long been a tendency to view our oceans as a limitless resource. Okay, combined with a widespread failure to make an emotional connection with most marine wildlife. But they're not talking about plan. They're talking about we don't have the tendency to save it. Perhaps it can be like why more has not been done. So let's continue reading. True, we have created a small number of marine protected areas. You see, marine protected areas is there, but they are not saying any planning, so don't get trapped. He's saying we have created, so they don't have any plan. What they have done, that was in the past. We seem to have understood the value of protecting ecosystem in areas such as the Australian Great Barrier Reef that we consider to be particularly beautiful. Again, it's the past they're talking about. Says John Sheffer. Oh, John Sheffer, you see, this is one more line that you have underlined. John Sheffer. So what you have to do here, you have to give a hint, because the next question type, there is a question on John Sheffer. So I will keep it here so that it can remind me when I finish this question type. Fine, so that was John Sheffer, professor. Okay, so what they're saying, move further. Human nature will always draw us towards those species or habitat that are more aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetically means more beautiful to look at. That is why there will always be support for protecting panda. Okay, so this is the answer. That is why there will always be support for protecting pandas and very little for worms. It means why we don't protect us? Because they're not aesthetically pleasing, and also there is no tendency to him something. Okay, so we got the answer. So we will go back to the questions. Number G is plan. No, there no plan. We're talking about why more has not been done to save marine creatures. So answer is number 3. We don't need to give any hint now because this is the last passage we're doing. So answer is number 3. Okay, so that's all from this sections of match the headings. In the next video, we are going to see the multiple choice question with the same passage and with the same planning that we have done so far. We will move forward from there. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next video. Thank you.